I'm calling you from Newton, Kansas. This call, please, I would like to have go to Mr. Dewitte, Jeremy Dewitte. I want to tell you something. I was so proud of you on Dr. Phil yesterday in the previous program. I can't tell you how much I identified with you. I retired a couple years ago from 44 years in nursing. I worked in the largest medical center in Wichita, Kansas. I worked in behavioral health and psychology. I was ashamed of Dr. Phil yesterday throwing all his weight behind his little doctorates, acting like you were like you were uninformed. You held your ground so well. I was so proud of you. I pray that God will deliver you from all evil around you, but I can't tell you how impressed I was with you. And when a person of your stature is on a motorcycle and you look good, you look professional, you need control of a crowd. You need it. It does not take somebody with 13 braids of medals and honors and all of that stuff. I don't care what. When a policeman on a motorcycle or in a uniform or anybody of that nature, of that status says, put up your hands or get down and do this, you need to abide by it. These people that are hurt by policemen, they have it coming if they don't obey the order of somebody. So I am so proud of you. Don't back down. Don't cower. Keep your spine straight. You have a lovely presence about yourself. I would hire you in a nanosecond if I needed your services. So keep going, doing the right thing. God will honor and reward you. Just stay who you are. Don't blink an eye at anything. You are totally professional. I just can't say enough of how disgusted I was with the way you were handled on the fabulous, great, mighty, Dr. Phil show. I'm always watching him because I've been in the business longer than he has, probably. Like I say, 44 years of a nurse. And we worked constantly with security in our hospital. I worked the homicide-suicide unit. I worked ER. These were people and family members that needed help. And so that is what you're doing. You're called to do it. You have honed your craft, and I am so proud of you. Keep it up. Keep up the good work, Mr. Dewitte. I certainly applaud you. Thank you so much.
I would have no problem with that. You just need to, make sure that the questions that are on the poly are fair and honest questions. And that was it.
How were those questions that were asked on the show selected?
I couldn't tell you that. That was their selection process. I had nothing to do with those questions. I don't know if you will know this, but I went because I was devastated. I was very angry about the results from the Dr. Phil show. I knew I wasn't lying. I haven't lied about what's going on, and so I here in Florida, I found a polygrapher that is actually still currently with the sheriff's office and is a well-known polygrapher here in Florida. And I met with him, and I showed him the questions, and he said the questions were worded to where no matter how you kind of answered, it would be bad. However, I passed his polygraph. He gave me the polygraph. I passed it with flying colors here in Florida when I was able to not be so stressed out. And when I took the polygraph in California, we did a bunch of what they call B-roll shots, where they were videotaping me coming into the room. They were videotaping the equipment. They had me saying, hey, I took my polygraph, I'm excited, I passed, all that stuff. And then I took the poly, and I explained that to the gentleman here in Florida, and he's like, you should have never taken a poly within a few days of flying into another state and or videotaping a bunch of scenes. So anyways.
So, well, on the show, Phil McGraw said, and I'm reading, I transcribed the segment. He said, is Jeremy playing cop or just doing his job? He insists he is not impersonating a police officer and wanted to take a polygraph test to show that his state of mind was not to try to imply to people that he was doing so. I recommended against it. I didn't want him to do it. And I'm wondering, did Did anyone from the Dr. Phil show try to discourage you from taking the polygraph?
No, not at all. No one ever even said don't take it. No one said that they didn't want to do it. They again asked if I was willing to 2 or 3 weeks before the show, and then I advised them that I was. And then they asked me a week before the show again to confirm, and again I told them sure, not a problem. But I never spoke to Dr. Phil until that day, so he never spoke to me and said I told Jeremy not to take it. I even recommended against it. That's not an accurate statement.
Dr. Phil, he's basically, I think, kind of going by a script in some sense, that the producers do all the work and he does the presentation on the show. That's the way these things typically work. I don't know for a fact about the Dr. Phil show, but that's generally, that I've seen that like with CBS 60 Minutes, where I appeared as a guest once. It was really the producers who were doing.
Sure, yeah.
The legwork.
Yeah.
And so, could you tell me how the polygraph itself went after the B-roll was shot?
We were in a secluded room. However, the producer, my attorney, and a videographer was there, as well as the Mr. Witt. And then they placed the pads on the floor, on the chair, and then your standard polygraph hookup, 2 across the chest, the fingers, and that was about it. He then told me that he would ask me 3 times the same questions. If he asked me for the questions in the 4th or 5th time, then that would mean that he was trying to get more proof or evidence that there was issues with the test. That was before we actually took the test.
There are questions where people might have different opinions based on their perception. So I don't think this was really a good topic for a polygraph test at all. Not that there ever is. It's junk science. But yeah, I don't think there's COVID about it. Dr. Phil uses the polygraph for entertainment and to build suspense and to boost ratings.
Right.
That's what I see here.
Well, we found that out after when I got the deception, which was shocking to me. And if you actually watched the show, you probably can see my facial reaction. I was actually very shocked. It didn't make sense to me.
Like your eyes popped out a little when you mentioned. And then, that Grogan fellow, I think he's only been on the Dr. Phil show once, and that was around the end of October. I think your polygraph was in the first few days of November.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, I was there for 2 days, yeah.
And my commentary on the Grogan, during the show, I published that on the 1st of November. Mm-hmm. So I think if the Dr. Phil show decides not to use Grogan anymore, I don't think he performed very well on the show. I don't think it's my commentary that caused them to change their mind, but maybe some other reason. So that's another question I had on the list was, who selected Dewitte to polygraph you?
They did. I've never heard of that man in my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was very polite and professional. And quite honestly, when I watched the show myself, I believe that I'm a good body language reader myself. I don't know if you are, but I when he answers Dr. Phil's question and he kind of raises his eyebrows and cocks his head to the right and kind of readjusts himself in the chair, that's kind of a body language posture that kind of says, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and answer the question. Almost like he wasn't really telling the whole truth, maybe just going along with that whole deception thing for the ratings. I really don't know, but his body language and his facial expressions just didn't look like, they were of a man that was telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But that's my opinion. So, but I don't know who he was. They brought him to me, and I believed what they told me.
I've heard of him before.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's worked with the San Diego Police Department, I think, as a civilian polygraph examiner. But he's not. Dr. Phil makes him out to be world renowned. He's not that famous.
Yeah, one of the things that Dr. Phil said after the polygraph, and they show part of what he says, but they edit out the rest, where he says, if you could see yourself through my eyes, you would see a professional person. He says that to me, and then he talks about how his staff said I was very professional and a very honest seeming guy and handled myself very well, and the business was extremely well. And then he said, after everything I've seen and everything I've heard, I don't believe you deserve 1 day in jail. They edited all of that out, which was heartbreaking for me, because him saying that would have actually shown, in my belief, that there's more to the poly that they're saying. And on top of that, it would show to the public that I'm not doing what they're trying to imply that I'm doing.
If you can get more information to me about the names of the producers who asked you to take the polygraph, that would be interesting, because I think these people ideally should be named and shamed. But if you can't, that's okay too. And if I hear back from Dewitte, I've asked him about what documentation supports his claim to being a countermeasure expert. If I hear back from him, then I'll ask him again further. Actually, maybe I'll ask him anyway, just so I can say he either answered or didn't, whether he'd be willing to provide me with a copy of your polygraph results, that we're okay with that.
Sure.
And I can see you on that.
Yeah, I would love to see his paperwork for
his answer
countermeasures.
or lack of answer, I guess, would be worth reporting on too.
Of course, because then whatever you find or get, especially if he doesn't have any certification saying that he is a countermeasure expert, I would then, of course, be putting it on my vlog as well.
That's the thing. There is no certification as being a countermeasure expert. It's a made-up thing.
Morning, guys. What's going on? So, just popping my head in super early in the morning. Last night, while doing cooking dinner and things like that, the garbage disposal, brand new, just went out for some reason. Heard a loud bang, then it stopped working, started leaking water everywhere. So, I guess for some reason this morning you guys are going to see me change the garbage disposal. So, let's walk through the whole kitchen. So it is 6 in the morning, super early. So, gonna do that while we're getting ready for work this morning. So we'll go ahead and start with our coffee, like always, and then start working on the garbage disposal. As you can see, we already pulled everything out, got everything ready. That's the old one, which is new. I'll show you what happened. Hold on. So for whatever reason, while we were using it, it made a loud banging noise, and then all of a sudden, it started doing that. When you run the water. So that tells me something in there broke off and or broke the housing. So, bought the garbage disposal yesterday, putting it in today. One of the first things you want to do is shut the power off. As much as I know that most of you would love for me to electrocute myself, we're going to go ahead and shut it off because I'm not man enough to take that. So as you can see, we have a lot of breakers in our home, being the fact that it is so big. Before we really get started, definitely have to enjoy some of this. nothing like waking up at 6 in the morning or 0600 and fixing your garbage disposal while you drink coffee. I'm gonna come over here and test it. Okay. Now that the power's off, we can start taking things apart. The best way to do that is to use a screwdriver to snap it and then follow it through, so you can slide it all the way. So you can slide it all the way and then grab it and then pull it down. Like that. Now again, these are brand new sinks. See, we just had the countertops done, sinks redone, beautiful setup. So what you want to do is make sure you pull this out and then remove the putty and start fresh. So that way you can make sure you put a putty line so that it doesn't leak. And then we're replacing it with the same thing. Good old Badger 100. Good old Badger 100. Only 1/3 horsepower. I didn't need a whole horsepower for my garbage disposal. Just the Badger 100. In the box, they supply you with a brand new one, so you might as well just switch everything out since it's already a part of it, right? Next, we're going to attach the drain line trap, or drain trap line. We'll go from there. Okay, so now we're back at the same place we started, tightening this. Just go ahead and use a screwdriver to crank it the rest of the way up. So now we turn the power back on and hope we don't burn the house down. Although I'm sure most of you, in fact, there's one of you that's out there that says he can't wait till he can burn my house down with me and my wife in it. So, let's see if I do that for you. Let's see here. Power back on. No sparks yet. Hey, a moment of truth. Electrocution or working. Okay, so everything's working. No leaks. And look at that, I still have time to wash the baby bottles early this morning before work. Well guys, so I guess I was able to do it, get it working. Not only that, but a serial police impersonator was able to fix the garbage disposal and damage the electrical outlets of the house. Wow. So I guess the garbage disposal is a fucked boy, but I got it to work, right? Anyways, talk to you guys later.